Welcome back to Copper Star Precision, the channel dedicated to getting you more points at your competitive shooting matches. I know we talk a lot of rimfire stuff, but we're here at Airguns and Optics with Jay, and we're here to talk about air guns. You guys saw some of the match footage with my Panthera, and that's made possible by this guy here down in Mesa, Arizona. So if you've ever been curious about air guns, this is the guy to ask. And we were talking, before I got into the air gun stuff, and we decided on the Panthera would be the right fit for me. We were talking about air guns and how far they've come in terms of features and accuracy, and we're now giving those dirty powder burners a run for their money sometimes when it comes to these matches. So it's not like a little Daisy pea shooter shooting at soda cans in the backyard. You've got some really impressive air guns out here. This is Jay's Panthera up here. We've got the new FX DRS in a Saber tactical chassis. Quite a few other guns. The new M4 compact. This is a fun little backyard shooter. And then we got some
Absolutely
big guys over here. So in terms of air guns, what have you seen? Because I've seen a lot of evolution over the last couple of years, but being someone in the business, what has been the thing that has been stand out for air guns and accuracy and things we can do with air guns now that maybe we couldn't do 10, 15 years ago?
I think one of the big things is the amount of power that they can generate now with the size of the plenums. Almost all these guns have a power plenum on them somewhere that gives you regulated air that's sitting right behind the valve, ready to send your projectile downrange. Where in the past, it had to get drawn through the regulator, maybe two regulators, then go through the valve to send it downrange. So that gives you more power to shoot slugs, and slugs have a much higher BC than pellets do. So not only have we made them more powerful, we've extended the range and extended the accuracy at range.
Yeah, so most pellet technology has been around for a long time. The skirted pellets that are actually drag stabilized instead of spin stabilized. But now we're actually seeing faster twist rates in the barrels and barrel liners. And we're actually approaching, like my Panthera is in 22 caliber and I'm shooting 40 grain slugs. So I'm shooting virtually the same projectile as a 22 long rifle cartridge. A little bit slower speeds because it tends to be a little bit more stabilized at that speed. But if I wanted to, I could push it to rimfire speeds. But in terms of that, in terms of the velocity spread, and tunability, right? We talk about, if you shoot center fire or you hand load or reload for any of your center fire cartridges or handguns, you can tune things in the reloading room, but you can't tune necessarily 22 long rifle. You're at the mercy of the lot number and the manufacturer, their quality control. Whereas most of these guns have either you can tune it on your own or you can tune it on the gun at the range.
Yeah. So some of them have external adjustments like the Panthera and the Impact that you can adjust the hammer spring, which in turn will adjust your velocity on the fly.
Yeah, so you can find a velocity window. And when we talk about like extreme spreads in rimfire ammunition, you're looking at if you have extreme spread less than 20 feet per second and standard deviation hopefully in the single digits, but probably closer to 10 feet per second. If you got a good tune, what can you find in an air gun?
Plus or minus 1 foot per second.
Plus or minus 1 foot per second. So when we talk about accuracy, precision shooting, we're always talking about consistency, right?
Yeah.
And because of all the technology in terms of that plenum that delivers that burst of air, opening and closing the valve, the same hammer spring force every time, you're pushing that projectile the same way every time. Doesn't matter if you're a grain off on powder or anything like that, or if you got a weird shaped bullet or something like that, but you are, plus or minus 1 foot per second. And, I think last time I shot 20 round string, standard deviation of like 1 or 2 feet per second, extreme spread of maybe 3 or 5.
Yep.
And when we talk about that long range accuracy, that is what makes the difference long range. It may not show up in groups of 50 yards, but it really matters when you're stretching out to distance. So,
absolutely.
what are some of the things you're looking forward to sort of in the world of air guns going forward? You were at SHOT Show. Did you see anything air gun related that you're excited for coming down the pipe?
Not really.
No?
That's what I was looking for, but I kind of created it myself. I talked to some barrel manufacturers about, making some better barrels. That way, the guns and the tunes are less affected by temperature changes. I think a lot of the issues I have with my gun going from shooting in the morning and shooting in the afternoon is the temperature of the barrel and the barrel, moving just a little bit.
Yeah, for us in Arizona, in the summer it's like over 100 all the time, but we're in that weird spring season where mornings can and afternoons can be 30, 40 degree temperature swings. So
Yeah.
definitely has an effect on harmonics or whatever. Luckily, if your gun falls out of tune, you can retune it right at the range.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, that's a huge advantage. But we've got some exciting stuff over here. What, you want to talk about this big bore gun? I mean, it looks like a 50 cal back there.
Yeah, it's a 457. That's a gun that I used to compete at the EBR with. Just this past year, it was a prototype at the time, but I think they're available to the general public now. Still waiting for inventory to come in for the customers that I have that are interested in purchasing one. But
you took home some hardware at extreme interest.
Yeah, it's a champion now. So it's 59 inches overall length. The bottles are rated for 7,000 psi.
That is insane.
I'm shooting just about 900 feet per second. I'm shooting a 336 grain slug, and it's sub MOA in my testing, definitely to 400 yards.
That's incredible.
At 100 yards, it puts them in the same hole. I've got 2 shots through one hole that you can't tell are 2 shots. It looks like one.
That's wild. I'll get some close-up pictures of that later. But I mean, when we're talking about pushing the limits, we've got anything from 17 caliber little shooters and stuff that you see in the Olympics, really, up to really big bore stuff. I mean, you could probably take medium-sized game with that, coyotes and stuff.
Big game.
Big game.
Yeah, there's guys that have taken elk with a 457 that in Arizona. There's guys that hunt with 457s in South Africa or Africa. They're hunting big game. Guys that shoot bear. They've done some testing. I wasn't there, but they're talking over 30 inches of penetration through ballistic gel with a 457, which is just amazing to me.
With air.
Yeah.
With air, no gunpowder. That's incredible. We're going to be making a lot more videos with Jay here in the future, so if you have any questions or comments for Jay, reach out down below in the comments. I'll relay them to him. We'll get stuff answered. We'll start making videos about whatever you guys want to hear about. If you're interested in the world of air guns, I know that match footage with the Panthera got a lot of traction, and people are really curious about, that aspect of it. Because one thing that we didn't talk about is, are these things regulated like firearms?
Over the counter.
Over the counter. You can buy one, get it shipped to your house, no forms to fill out, anything like that. And at least in Arizona, as far as I'm concerned, in my understanding of the law, they're not even considered firearms.
No, there's no fire in them, so it doesn't apply.
Doesn't apply. So definitely an interesting world, lots of new technological advances, and we'll be bringing you lots more content from Airguns and Optics here with Jay. Jay, thanks for the time.
Thanks.